Everyone, and welcome to Your Pipeline is Your Lifeline, hosted by Matthew Smith and Jeffrey Finn, CEO and VP of Business Development. We are glad you are all able to attend as people are coming into the session. Remember, you are in listen-only mode. Ask your questions through the chat line in the question box there, and we'll get to them as we go through this session. Also, as a secondary reminder, this is not training. This is to understand some of the functionality that RealNext can really help you with, enhance if you're currently using RealNext to see, instead of using spreadsheets and other systems, maybe you want to look into utilizing that to manage your business. We're going to be talking about a couple things as we go through here. Three main things: prospecting, deal management, and reporting. These sessions do have a tendency of going somewhat fast. I'll try to slow down as best as I can, but we try to fit everything in less than an hour. So what are the things that go into your pipeline? Is it just reporting? Is it just deal management? Or is it just prospecting? And it's all three. It's really important to understand market inventory, what is out there for sale and for lease, what clients are looking for space, understanding client profiles so we can match buyers and sellers and tenants in space, targeting email campaigns, call lists, and follow-up. And those things are all going to help you to build that pipeline. So once you start building your pipeline, how are you going to start managing that deal? So we'll walk through setting up a project, creating timelines, which can be done through prospecting as well as through the deal management process. We'll talk about generating additional leads for that project that can be utilized for other assignments as you go through. We'll talk a little bit about tours and showings and how do we track those. I'll try to dive into our tour book, as well as creating some nice little broker opinion of values and 1-page, 2-page, 3-page flyers so you can show those properties you're touring as well. And then we'll talk a little bit about forecast for commissions. What are you currently going to make if your deals close? What are you going to currently make if you bring these deals to a listing or to an assignment? So not just deals that are in your pipeline as an assignment, but ones that you're trying to get for an assignment. We'll talk about client reporting. So what is going on in the building, and how are you going to help your client? You got the listing now what? And then we'll talk a little bit about those different reports and types within inside of RealNext. I'm not a big fan of PowerPoint, so I'm going to go ahead and click off the PowerPoint. When we log into RealNext, you can log in to the web, or you can log in from the mobile app. Most of this is going to be focused on the web, then not going to be on the mobile app. Let me move this PowerPoint over here real quick for everybody. And I will go ahead and showcase my screen here. All right. So when you first log in at RealNext, you're going to log into one of the 4 components here. Either going to be green, which is the listing management. Orange is going to be the CRM. Red is going to be Market Edge for presentation, lease, and deal room. And then blue is going to be your tour book. So we're going to want to go ahead and click on that hamburger in the upper left-hand corner. If you're following along, that's awesome. If you haven't used RealNext before, remember, we're here to help you with any questions throughout this presentation. You're going to want to peruse down here and click on CRM. As always, you can go ahead and reference Guide Me in the upper right-hand corner. There is going to be a training video. So if you click on training, click on CRM, and you're going to see a section here called projects. That is going to help you out, as well as the one on contacts and lead management. Also, Real Campaigns and Mail Merge. And then the library is going to help you through navigating sections of the RealNext program, as well as adding a lead and adding a contact and so forth. Just select the area you want, and then it's going to go ahead and walk you through that specific task. So one of the things that we want to make sure we have is market inventory, and you can get that in a couple different ways. One is you can do it out in the field by adding information in via your mobile app. Stand in front of a building, hit add auto address, take some pictures, and put those into a group. And maybe that group is something like, please research. Here's a property that I saw. I typed in Lee's Buffet as a name and added a picture and some information on it. Now I want to research who the owner is, and I actually did that earlier, and now I can call let them know that I have a prospective client or tenant or whatever my case would be. So one is you can do that and do a please research group. Another one is you can bring in data from Excel. We do offer a service here to bring in third-party information, i.e. Reonomy and CoStar and so forth. You can also inquire with your sales representation representative. They'll be able to walk you through RealNext data, which will be releasing in limited quantities, and then we'll be rolling it out more as the year progresses. But you can just email sales@realnext.com or ask your local sales rep. You can bulk import that data. So if we want to bring in all the market inventory for, say, San Diego or Las Vegas, or you're in New Zealand or Australia, or you're in a different country, Singapore, whatever that would be, you can simply go ahead and import that property data. If you hit help will give you a 4.5-minute video. We do give you multiple templates for you to download, and you're simply matching your headers in your spreadsheet to the fields in our program, and it's going to map out. So market inventory is going to be something that's going to help you, and it's going to help you prospect. So with that, you can filter out as much information as you want. So let's figure out an area that we want to start prospecting on. And I'll kind of go somewhat fast on this because, again, of time, we want to talk mainly about the pipeline, but really prospecting and market inventory. So let's pick a city. We're going to say city contains San Diego, and you can add as many filters as you want to. So I'm going to filter out San Diego. Most likely you'll pick like an asset class. Maybe you're going after gas stations or mobile home parks. Maybe you're going after hospitality. You'll pick one of those, and then we'll start creating our call list from that. I like to create 2 groups. I like to create a stage 1 and a stage 2 group. And again, as I do that, I also create a split screen. So this little arrow right here will allow you to do a split screen. I click on the owner details or contacts tab, and I can see that. And then as I can select each one, I can go down and it will change the right-hand side. I also can put that into a nice little list view, and then I can choose different columns that I want depending on the asset class that I'm going after and the reasons why I'm calling, so it makes it a lot easier to do that. Today I'm going to stay in the tile view so everybody can kind of see that. So remember, market inventory is going to be really important. Now, once we start making that phone call, we can do a click to dial, and we can call Ken and see if he's interested in selling one of his properties. And now we can put in here, this is going to be a cold call, and we can put notes on the call. You can also hold down the Windows key and H, and you can start doing voice dictation while you're on the call or after the call, just depending on what you want to do. If you're on a Mac, just look up how you do voice dictation on a Mac, and that'll help you out. So again, that's one of the things that we can do. We can start voice dictating that information. If there's a follow-up in the future, we can hit follow-up. Now, Matt, a couple things happened. One is we made a phone call to Ken, and Ken said, yeah, I'm interested in possibly selling, as we pitched him on, hey, Ken, you want a free valuation? So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit save. Now, what's nice about this is it not only saves it on the property, but it'll also save it on the contact and the company if you're calling from the company side of things. But there's this lead section in here, and we'll get to that here in a bit. So one of the things that we're going to be able to do is we're going to hit save. And as we hit save, it's going to create those histories within inside that program for you. Now, I am recording this and having some instrumentation going on, so it might take a little bit longer on my end than it would on your end. Once we go ahead and we save this, then what we have the ability to do is we have the ability to analyze this property. So what we can simply do is hit analyze market, and it's going to take information right out of this property. So analyze market, and then it's going to bring up our market edge program. And I'm going to bring that up in another tab. So it takes the information, it takes a picture, it took the purchase price and rentable square foot, number of mixes and everything out of the CRM for me already. I didn't have to add anything else in there. I can put a couple attributes in there. I like to do a quick income analysis. So I'll choose like a monthly income. I'll choose a growth rate and a vacancy, and we'll have like a 2% vacancy. And then I'm going to go to my expenses, and I'm going to put my annualized expenses. And I'm going to put my growth rate for expenses here in San Diego. It's a little bit higher. And then I'm able to get my projections and create that quick broker opinion of value that I can do. So remember, pipeline's part of it, but building and getting to that pipeline is going to be another one. Again, Guide Me can be your friend to walk you through how to do this with the training videos, and then even do this live for you. You can do a 2-year, 5-year, 20-year projection, get your annual operating data and so forth. Click on presentation, and depending on whether you're with a major company or an independent, you can choose different cover pages on the right-hand side by selecting cover page. Choose a cover page that suits your needs. You do have the ability to resize images. You have the ability to change things on here as well as draw on the pages. You can change from highlights in here, and we can change highlights to paragraph or text or button or available spaces, property fields, or description. Really up to you what you want to do, and then make sure you have your correct company logo in there. We have landscape and portrait, and if you get a landscape and you want to change it to portrait, you can do that as well. And again, if you want to change things like there's no lease rate here, add your own text on there. Again, you can even draw on the page. So as we're creating those broker opinion and values, and we have webinars that talk about the broker opinion and values and the valuations, and Dr. Jeffrey Fisher will come on and tell you a little bit more about things. I go ahead and I like to load my broker opinion and value. I have a template saved here, broker opinion and value. RealNext also has templates in here. So they have a broker opinion and value that's a little bit different than the one that I saved. You can go ahead and load it. Again, if it changes your cover page around, you can select the cover page that you enjoy. So we'll just go here and we'll do a cover page just like that. And I'm going to change my logo. That's how I like to have my page. And then this has in here your cover sheet, property summary, photos, sales comps that pull directly from the CRM, professional bio, and then down here, a broker opinion of value. So this property is 3.2 to 4.1. If you hit edit page, you can choose what you want, so sales comparisons, adjustments, adjusted analysis, and then income method. Give a description on the income method in there and how you came up with it. Same thing with your comparison method, and then choose a cap rate, aggressive and conservative, and it will go ahead and give you a conservative, aggressive, and the one in between that. Each one of these valuations could be emailed out to a client. They could be e-published, and they can be sent. So let's fast forward. We've done evaluation. We got to that point, but where does pipeline come into all this? Well, pipeline comes into all this because there's one thing that I want to show you how to do, and that is to be able to keep track of all your pitches, right? That's really important that we keep track of all our listing pitches. So let's go back to when we called Ken. And if we felt comfortable enough that we're going to do evaluation with Ken, what I want you to do is click lead. Inside of here, when you click lead, you're going to have the ability to select your project. So what is a project? A project is a way to isolate your deals. So typically that's going to be a signed agreement is what I use a project for, and that's going to be your pipeline, and that is your lifeline. However, there's certain situations that there's going to be a pursuit, a tenant pursuit, landlord pursuit, a listing pursuit. I don't care what you call it. You can call it a listing pitch, whatever you want. You're going to create one project, right? So we're going to create one project and we're going to tie that into it. And instead of tying it to a listing, because it's not a listing yet or creating a listing, I like to just come on here and I like to call it listing pitches. So type what you want. And if you want to select it, you can see that and select it in here. Now I'm going to go through my different projects that I have. I see I have landlord pursuits, and I have one called seller rep, another one called tenant pitches. I'm doing that for example purposes so you can see what it is. But in this case, since we're trying to get Ken to sell his property, we're going to say seller rep. We're going to choose the date that the lead was opened. We're going to choose the size of the deal, right? So the size of the deal was 53,000 square feet. We came up with a $6 million valuation. What is our commission on that 6 million? Maybe it's 180,000. Probability is 25%. It's something, anytime we do a valuation, it has a 25%. And again, you choose what works best for you. Then statuses. These are customizable for you. And I'll show you how to create a project, and I'll show you how to customize the statuses. So we're working on the broker opinion to value, and the source was a RealNext market campaign. So you can email our list of clients for a small fee per email. It's a large database pool, and that's where I was able to get this client from. Notes are going to usually be my next steps. So what is the next step in this deal? And this is going to be present valuation. So I went ahead and presented the valuation. Okay, so those are your next steps. Hit save on your history. And now what I did is I was able to create a project that now I can track all my listing pitches in here. So I'm in projects. I go to my seller rep project and I go to lead. And then here's all my leads. Okay. So I can come in here now and I can add any other deal that I want in here. And this one I'm actually going to remove real quick, because we want to make sure if we're going to take the time to pitch a property, we want to take the time to add in the date open and commission and size and so forth, and what's in the next step and source. What's nice about this is you have one view that you can see everything that you're working on for seller rep, tenant rep, landlord rep, buyer rep, whatever you want. This status here doesn't mean anything. The status, you're going to create one project. So Matt, how did you just do that? That was pretty cool. I have a spreadsheet that I have hundreds of pitches in that I don't follow up on, and I lost $250,000 commission. True story. Not me personally, someone else that I was training. So one of the interesting things is it's easy to set these up. You go to my settings or settings up here in RealNext. If you don't have the settings, it means you're not an admin, and talk to your admin about setting this up for you. You're going to go to settings, then we're going to go down here to system tables, and you're going to go to project setup. So these are your project types on the left-hand side. Don't get too macro in here. Don't create too many. You should have things like for sale, for lease, buyer rep, tenant rep. I don't use opportunity. That's personally me. I'm also a tea drinker, not a coffee drinker. So everybody likes different things. I have one here for like landlord rep, development, seller rep. You might have one in there for tenant rep pursuits, landlord pursuits, and so forth. But let's look at seller rep. And I'm actually going to change this to seller pursuits. I actually like seller pursuits different. So I'm going to change that. So to add a project, you click add project type, seller pursuits. And these are my statuses. And don't ask me what your statuses are. I have no clue. The statuses are going to be things that, what is your sales process like? Oh, Matt, it's initial meeting with a client. And then working on broker opinion of value. Presented valuation. And I'm just going to say presented BOV, just so I understand. Valuation agreed upon, one listing, right? So one the listing, and then you can choose the order that it's in. Real simple. Okay, so this is my process: initial meeting, working on valuation, presented valuation, valuation agreed upon. I won the listing or I lost the listing. For me, that's simple. Yours might be a little bit different. And then each one, your seller pursuits, your tenant pursuits, your landlord pursuits, those are all going to have different project statuses. And to add a status, you hit add status. Write a name in there, and there you go. It's that simple. Okay, so status on the project itself for seller pursuits and pursuits doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is the status of the lead. And that's going to differ in here in a little bit. But again, we're going to go back in here and we're going to look at all our seller pursuits. So let's look at a great way that we can go ahead and we can tie that into our dashboard. And then I want to talk to you a little bit about how we tie timelines into those pursuits. So I right click and I open my dashboard up in a new window. Okay, and then I hit leads. And then I hit filter, show filters, project contains seller. Now I hide my filters. Now each day when I come in, if I go to my account and I go to settings, I can set this up so it goes to my dashboard, and I can set it up so it goes to my leads, and I hit save. And now that's going to show my leads every single time I log in. So can you imagine how powerful it is? You come in here and you say seller pitches, and pow, there's all your seller pitches right there. You can see every property. You're like, oh, wow, there's a property that traded, the other week on there, and I got to call this owner up and see if he's ready to sell. Or, hey, I was talking to this gal, and she was interested in selling, but man, it's been like 3 years. Let me just call and see if she still has a property. Pretty cool stuff. So we want to make sure that we're doing that and creating those projects in there. Now, when you have those projects, you can create what we call timelines. So what is your timeline on a pursuit? Schedule timeline. So any one of your leads, you can schedule events for it. What is a timeline? A timeline is simply a series of events that are going to take place, whether that's pipeline building, management. You can create a series of events that are going to take place on certain things, like identify and input leads into CRM, qualify leads within 5 days, and input initial, right? So this is a series of events that we can start. So we're going to come down here, we're going to say pipeline management, and we're going to say schedule, because we just got a new valuation. It's linked to Blue Diamond Land is what we're working on. Now I'm going to say leave it on scheduled date. Perfect. These are all the things I want to. Hit finish. And now what it did is it created a nice little Gantt chart for me. It's going to synchronize with my Office 365 or my Gmail coming soon. And it'll appear right in my dashboard on all my activities to do. So hopefully I never lose another listing ever. Now, obviously I'm not perfect and I'm not going to win every listing, but now I can easily see all my listing pitches or my tenant pursuits or my landlord pursuits or any of those things. And again, it's really important. Now, if you want any of these, and these went under contract, we're simply just going to take this status and we can go ahead and we can say edit, or you can do inline editing. We're going to change it to 1. So here's active, and then here's all. So that way you can track which ones you didn't win. Maybe you lost it to another broker, no problem. But why don't you follow up in 6 months and see if that broker ended up selling that property, or maybe things changed and you want to change how that goes. Again, that's super fantastic. Attachments, you want to attach all your valuations, great. But remember, all your valuations are going to stay inside of Market Edge for you. So if you want to go back in, you want to update a valuation at any point in time, you will be able to access all your evaluations. So a couple other things that we want to talk about is we want to talk about target email campaigns. How do we target our clients? Well, one of the things that I like to do when I'm building my pipeline is not only do I like to talk to the tenants in the surrounding market, or where I'm out door knocking, or when I'm prospecting with a buyer, seller, whatever it would be, I like to get buyer profile information. So like I talk to the tenants that are around the area. What is their current lease expiration and their requirements for new space? Or if I'm working on investment sales, when I'm talking to these owners and they're not interested in selling, or even if they are, I like to update their buyer profile. What are they buying? What are they leasing? What is going on in their life that we can help match them to another property? So remember, when you're building your pipeline, you're also creating client profiles, which will help with lead generation. So you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone, that you're calling on the property owner. And Antonio says, you know what, I'm not interested in selling, but I am interested in buying. Great. What do you buy? And you can edit the information right in here. And if you get a new property that matches that criteria, you can email out and say, Antonio, we talked 6 months ago, 6 years ago. And by the way, I have a property that meets your criteria. It's huge. And again, you can go down the list, down the list, and down the list, and create those buyer profiles. You can even use our real campaign system in here that'll create a template that we can create together here. And you can say like dear first name, put in your signature line, and you can add some of the merge fields in here. So it says dear first name, and then down in here, we can put their investor profile information in there, minimum price or anything else. Here is your buyer info. Please make sure it is correct. If not, please email me your information. Okay? And make sure you don't take Matthew Smith's typing class because I'm not a good typer. Now we can actually see that and would put in the buyer information. If this information is blank, please send us your information. We're looking for this criteria so we can match up properties. You can save this email for maybe call it like lead generation email or something to that effect, and you can send it out. And you can track your opens, clicks, and opt-outs. And you can create a group within that. So in Antonio's case, we can see every email campaign that we've ever done with Antonio. It was delivered, open, delivered. So we delivered the email, but he's never opened it. Again, now we know we're going into the call a little bit more information when we're trying to build that pipeline up. And that'll help us to do that. So this is awesome. So we're generating leads, we're working our market, and now we've got to the point where we won a deal. Perfect. Genesee Park Apartments, we won. Awesome. Or we can pick whatever one we want to. It doesn't matter. Let's pick Blue Diamond Land because we were talking about that earlier. Blue Diamond Land, we're going to go ahead and edit. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say result is 1. Congratulations, we won. We're going to update the information. Perfect. Now I'm going to update information and it's Blue Diamond Land. I'm going to hit save. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a project and I'm going to say add new. And I'm going to call this Blue Diamond Land. And you can call it whatever you want to. Our client, we had Antonio in there that owned it. And then we come over here to listing and we're going to say Blue Diamond. Now, if you're a tenant rep, you're going to have a client, which is going to be the company, initial 3 development. So which is tie in here, initial 3. And then you're not going to have a listing. Okay. You're going to have nothing because you're finding space for the client. But if it's for sale or for lease, you're going to have a listing. If it's buyer rep, you're not going to have a listing. So in this case, I'm just going to put Blue Diamond back. And doesn't matter to me whether it's a company or contact. And I'm going to select for sale. Maybe we want to keep this deal off market for the first 30 days. Maybe it's an off market period. I don't know. These are your statuses that are going to correlate with your project type. Like we mentioned before, the process is prospecting, then deal management, and then reporting. So we're taking that from the flow. So now we can show a status and we take that status to, we're just going to say in process. The reason for selling is retiring. They're tired of dealing with tenants. In this case, it's land. So maybe they want to sell that land to a developer. They're retiring. They want that retirement income. Maybe they outgrew their space and they're looking for new space. Maybe they have too much space and they need to downsize. Downsizing is definitely a thing. It's a really weird movie, so don't watch it. But downsizing happens. So if you're working with a tenant, they're downsizing, great, put that in there, they're downsizing or they're upsizing or expanding. They're retiring or they're adding to their portfolio. Listing date, what is the date you got the listing? What's the size of the listing? Put the information in there. How many acres is it? It's 2 acres, or maybe it's 2,000 square feet. What is the deal amount? 150,000, a million, 1.5 million. What's your commission going to be on something like that? 45,000, $45. What is your commission? 6%, 50% of that deal, 100%? Any additional notes? Again, I like to do my next steps in here. So these are my next steps. Now, this goes out to my good buddy, Jeff Finn here, who loves timelines. So if you ever want to talk timelines, he loves them. Now in here, we're going to go to investment, sales, and selling. Matt, I opened my RealNext and I don't have any timelines, or I have timelines that are in Excel. How do I create them? If you hit this little I and you select any one of these 10 timelines, it'll actually create the timeline for you. Use and guide me automatically. Just make sure you don't look at the screen if you have any medical condition. People joke, but I promise you, it's not flashing lights and stuff like that. So you can select this timeline now. And what we can do is we're going to go ahead and hit save, and we're going to create that timeline. So it's linked to Blue Diamond Land. I'm going to hit finish, and it's going to create our Gantt chart for us. And it put those events and assigned them right in here. See how I just did that? Now, the nice thing about these timelines is you can create a timeline and you can assign it to multiple participants. Now, I'm the only one in my database, so I'm the only one that's getting them. But if you have a marketing coordinator, you have an analyst, you have research, you can add as many participants as you want to these events, and then they'll show up on the participants dashboard. Now, as we're going through here, we're going to say finish with history. Okay, so our team, we don't have to communicate and email back and forth. We don't have to send notes in GLIP and all these other things. We don't even have to talk, to be honest with you, because as we complete these events, I can see what's done and what's not done. Real simple. I can see that there's events outstanding. Man, Matt's got to get on this. He's got to push it to Real Next Marketplace and other listing services. Oh, Matt just completed that. Now I can see it. We went ahead and we put in our commission. So now we can add our participants in here, and I'm going to put myself in here. Do I have myself in here as an agent? I don't think so. So I'll put my buddy David Brown in here. Okay, and he's just going to get 100% of the split. And now it's going to calculate our commission off of that. 6% off of that, 90,000. Got 100% split. We want to work where he works. So now we have our commission in there. We have our events in here that are outstanding to be completed with our team. We have our activities that we can generate a marketing activity report for. And then we have leads. Leads would be, in this case, leads would be potential investors that are looking to purchase this property. If it's for lease, it's potential tenants. And if it's a tenant assignment or a buyer rep assignment, they would be spaces you're touring or properties you're looking for and you're presenting to that client. Not my long list, but it would be my short list of spaces and my short list of properties. And you can hit add new to create a new lead. And we just type in a name and the size, like how much square foot they're looking, because maybe this is a landlord assignment and they're only looking for X amount of space. The amount, what would your commission be on that if you for that particular space? And then you can start seeing that information as you're generating that. Another way you can do that is you're like before, it's on the property or the space itself, or in this case here, you just right click and you say add to project. And we're going to type in Blue Diamond Land. The size is 2 acres. The amount is 1.5 million. Commission's 90,000. Why do you do this each time, Matt? Because I like to see it, and it takes 10 seconds. So we're going to say touring, the source, cold calling from title company, Real Next data source. And now if we go back to projects, ta-da, now we can start seeing all our leads. So how many people track their deals in spreadsheets? 80% of you on this call, 80% of brokers, 80% of salespeople. Well, what if you sold this property and you had 10 leads? How many people bought the property? One person, one company bought that property. One. So what do you do with your 9 or 90 or 8 million other leads? You do nothing with them. Well, in Real Next, I'm going to show you what you're going to do with them, and I'm going to show you how to make money by getting one listing and turn it into 10 listings. Just stay tuned and watch. So now we have Blue Diamond Land, and I'm going to select my deals that are for sale. So now I can see my properties that are for sale, and right here, and I have Blue Diamond Land in here. And it's Friday night, and I want to generate a report. And I want to generate a report for the owner. And I want to let her know that we're working on selling that property for her and her husband, Chad, and all the activity that are going on that. Now, when I'm running that report, why I'm running that report, now I can start working on a couple other things. one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up all the folks that meet the criteria of that property. So everybody that's looking for land and I add those filters in there, and now I can create a real campaign. If I created a flyer in here, I can turn that flyer into a full marketing package, or my marketing team can come in here and take it into a full offering. I can list that property now. I can list that property for sale. And I would see that piece of land in here, and I'm just going to select one for time's sake. This is actually a piece of land here. And I'm going to create a template. And in 3 seconds, I have an email. We can customize email campaigns for you as well. Real small fee. It's like $100 or so to create a template for you, and it puts it out there for you. You can send an email campaign through here. And I like to create 2 groups. I like to create a stage 1 group, which is everybody I have in contact, and a stage 2 group, everybody that's interested in buying that property. Same thing could be used for tenant assignments and leasing and landlord and everything else. But we can go ahead and now we can take those leads and add those leads as we get to it. We're generating that report that shows the leads or the marketing activity. This would have your company information and your colors on it. So now we have all the marketing activity. Here we go. We can send it to Word, PowerPoint, Excel, PDF, any notes on there. We can also generate a lead report so we can see our lead statuses. So I manage 5 million square feet. I manage 50,000 square feet. I manage 5,000 square feet. My client wants to know the leads that I'm generating and where they're at in the process and any notes on those leads. Real easy to keep track of throughout this whole program. And again, you can send that information in there. I also want to see how much money I'm going to be generating for myself. So I can come over here and I can say commission report. And this is going to give me a commission report based upon the brokers and the split payee. So Antonio, Chad, David, and so forth. And we can see the deal amount and the commission and the total amount. You can export this to Excel as well. We can see that. Remember, we can also see, our pursuits. So here's our seller rep, seller pursuits. And we can see what our commission is going to be generating from here, and we can send it to Excel as well. So now we can have that portion of their program. We're sending our email campaigns and we're generating leads. One of the things that we found out that's incredible, and you'll have to watch a series coming up here, is these digital tour books, is creating a tour and creating your showings. And I'll give you a little tease to that coming up. And that's awesome. This can really help you get your foot in the door with a client. It's made for tenant rep, but sales agents are using it too. No reason you can't. This tour was created by myself in about 15 minutes. Drag and drop the property images, added some tour notes. Ratings are customizable, and your client downloads a mobile app. So if you're touring with 5 folks, 1 person, you can go ahead and you can drag and drop that tour. So drag and drop the tour as it goes. I added the properties, and again, it took me about 15 minutes. If there's anything changed by the landlord, it takes me one minute to update, and now it's updated on the client. It's a free mobile app your client downloads. So we'll get to some questions as we're going through here, but we went through lead generation, showed a quick little financial analysis and broker opinion and value. Now we have other videos in here that go in depth in our web sessions for that. We went through setting up a project and setting up pursuits, whether that's tenant pursuits or landlord pursuits, and client profiles and call lists, and pipeline commissions and forecasts and summary. So unlimited data. And how many attachments can I have? It's unlimited. Now, each attachment's limited to 40 megabytes. So it's over 40 megabytes. You can use like PDF shrink or something like that, but it is limited to 40 megabytes. Also, you can categorize your attachments in here. So what type is it? And then Who's the owner? It's private for me because it's a commission statement or other information. You can tie one of our war rooms in here to see who logged in, what they've downloaded, when they've downloaded it, if they downloaded it or came in there at all the views and their security level. So all your due diligence material, your rent roll or anything else, you can go from the beginning of the deal to the end of the deal with the deal room, and we have videos that walk you through that. We'll see our commissions and our events and our histories. Links, great question. So what do we do with links? Links can be, you can link anything in here. I want to link the attorney. So we want to link an attorney, we want to link another broker, we want to link anybody else, any area we want to have someone, a record in here, we can link to. Web links in here, I don't really use web links when it comes to projects, but web links I use for contacts to look up information like client search by name or something like that. You can also tie in, some people tie in their Google Drive. You can just edit those web links and so forth to that. So that's a good way to have those web links. To create a buyer profile, I come into the contact section and I go to columns and I hit edit. And then I choose what I want on the right-hand side from the left-hand side menu. If you hit this arrow button here, it wipes it all out and you just double click what you want. And then make sure you go ahead and you save that as, and when you do, you can mark it as a favorite. There's a video, we walk you through that. So that's a great way to remember, if you're calling 100 people a week or 1,000 people a week, whatever you call on, everybody you call is a potential buyer or a potential tenant or a potential prospect. So make sure you're double dipping those and doing the client profiles, and you're using real campaigns in here so we can track the statistics, creating those call lists for follow-up, utilizing your dashboard in the way that you can see all your listings, all your tenant pursuits and so forth. Maybe the company is interviewing other tenants and you follow up twice and you get the listing, or follow up 3 times and you get the assignment, or because the other client didn't, and they're probably not using RealNext. Remember, timelines, really easy to walk through, lead generation tours. Hope you enjoyed this session. This is super powerful. I think projects is probably one of the most fun and rewarding portions of our program. I think it's the easiest to learn. If you need help, we're here to help you. Just reach out to your sales rep. If something's not working, reach out to support, but don't reach out to support for training, please. These guys are very black and white. They're extremely smart. They understand the coding and technology behind it, but we live, eat, and breathe the life of what you're doing, and we're here to help you. You can email sales@realnext.com. You can email your regional rep that will be able to answer any questions for you. And always you can reach out to myself or Jeff. And again, we're here to help you in any way we possibly can to be productive. If you're in another program, we can convert any of your Salesforce data into our system. We have a very easy and low cost to deploy. So meaning that we come in at a very low cost to bring your data in. We make sure that we deliver overwhelming value. We give you the highest quality possible. And the idea is that you can get up and running in 24 hours or 48 hours or sometimes less. We've had clients up and running coming out of other systems that are out there. So if you're using another system, whether it's Excel or one of our competitors out there, and you're like, hey, I'm ready to make the move, message your sales rep, and there's a possibility we can have you up and running in 15 minutes, 30 minutes, a day, 2 days, depending on how much data, where it's at, and how big your team is. We are going to give you a fast time to value. And remember, we're becoming the transaction asset information management system for the commercial real estate industry. And it's really important for you to understand that you can run your whole business out of RealNext. And today was just a very small portion of what we're doing. And we build solutions for problems, and we understand there's a problem out there. So we built this solution. We'll continue to do that. If you have any great ideas for us, let us know. It's always great to hear from you. And as always, if you have an idea for a web session that you'd like to see, if you'd like to come on as a guest and show everybody what you've learned or what you're doing, if we should have a market breakout and discuss buyers' needs and profiles and everything else and share deals, Let us know. Email me at msmith@realnext.com, msmith@realnext.com. Hit me up on Twitter at SiriMattSD. That's Sam David, Siri Matt SD, Sam David on Twitter. Let me know what you think. Let me know what your thoughts are. Thanks for coming on here today, and hopefully everybody has a fantastic week. And we look forward to winning business together. I'll talk to you soon.